The expression does what it says on the tin. We are an all-girls school. And I think we can't overstate that. And I'm sure when the girls come to speak, you might have questions. They've heard them all about being in an all-girls school. But actually, what we say is in an all-girls school, we are empowering our young women. We only have one gender, so we can make all the fuss about them, and actually they're the center of everything that we do. There's no stereotyping because there are only girls. The only stereotype is that girls can do whatever they want. And actually that's what we try to foster within them. I myself went to an all-girls school, and I remember somebody asked me to reflect on it once. And it stuck in my mind that the reason I am who I am, and I'm prepared to speak up whenever asked, sometimes we're not asked, and that is because I went to an all-girls school. I found my voice at school. I was listened to, and I was prepared to offer my perspective. And what more could you want for a young woman, really, than not to be brash, not to be arrogant, but to be able to develop their own opinions and prepared to stand up and speak what's on their mind. So, all girls. We're a boarding school. Most of the people listening tonight will be considering a boarding place. We have a small number of day girls, but actually boarding is at the core of Tudor Hall. And it's boarding that everybody comments on when they come, because everybody who comes to Tudor responds to me when I see them after a tour by saying it has such a fantastic feel. And it does. I felt it when I first arrived. Many other colleagues will say the same to you. The girls feel it too. There's a warmth around the community, which you can sense when you visit. And that comes from the community of having the boarding at the heart of the school. Now, the girls, we're always asked, what sort of girl fits in at Tudor Hall? And my answer is simple. I've never met a girl yet that doesn't fit in at Tudor Hall. Because actually we are an all-embracing community. We want our girls to be able to swim with the shoal, but actually if they're brilliant at hockey, but not so brilliant at, I daren't mention a subject because my hods will get offended. So we'll say underwater basket weaving. If that's not their strength, then who cares? Because actually they've got their own thing, and we work with them on that fundamental principle. And then finally, our school motto, which drew me to the school when I applied for the job, Habio et dem, I have that I may give, is a huge part of Tudor Hall. We believe that the young women and the community as a whole is in a position to give back, and we believe very strongly that that's what we should be doing. So that's at the heart of the school, that's the ethos. And now I'm going to hand over to different panelists, and I'm hoping that they will center stage on the screen when I hand over. So I'm handing over first to Emma Bell. Just a reminder, she's the deputy head. Thank you, Emma.
Hello, everyone. So hopefully you can now see me. It's a very, very strange thing to not know if you can or not. So please do let us know. So as Wendy said, I am the deputy head, and I look after really everything to do with what you would think of as school. So in terms of the curriculum, the lessons, the tutoring, special educational needs, university destinations, all of that stuff comes underneath me. And obviously I work really closely with an amazing team of people in order to do that. And one of the things I've thought about quite a lot over the years is what makes an outstanding curriculum. What makes a curriculum that is fit for the amazing people who we have at Tudor? And I kind of can distill it, I think, into three things. Firstly, inspiration. Secondly, aspiration. And thirdly, perspiration. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about why I think those three areas really sum up our curriculum and approach to learning. So first of all, inspiration. We all know that actually if we're inspired, if somebody gets us, if we see or do something that is exciting to us, then actually we're more likely to work hard. So happy people are more successful. If you're really helped to see that there is a huge range of things. You've got a chance to find your thing. And that's what we do at Tudor. So when girls join us in TOD, which is what we affectionately call our year 7 pupils at 11 plus, if you join us then, girls are going to do absolutely everything. The range of curriculum opportunities is dazzling. And within that, girls may be introduced to things they've never done before. So they may never have done Latin, or they may have done loads of Latin, but actually they've never done textiles, or they've never done DT. So they have a whole range of different things. And during that formative period in years 7 and 8, they get the opportunity to then really think about, oh, you know, I've never seen this before. This is great. I want to do some more of that. Or, oh, that's an area which challenges me a bit more. That's not going to be my thing, but how proud I feel to have had the chance to do it and to explore it. Then as the girls move through the school, we do keep that breadth whilst going into the depth required for GCSEs and A-levels to prepare girls for the life beyond. And I know that B in particular would be able to say how actually choosing a subject going through to A-level is sometimes not something that you had ever considered, whilst other girls may well have a plan and stick to it all the way through. So, you know, you may start the school thinking you're going to be an artist and go off to art college at the end. You may start thinking you're going to be a doctor and go off to art college at the end. Or you may start thinking you're going to be a doctor and go on to do that. And Tudor girls absolutely go off to do everything, having been inspired at that formative time. But they're not just inspired by the curriculum offering. Obviously, they're inspired by each other, by the community that they have around them, and they're inspired by their fantastic subject specialists. And we do have subject specialists in that whole range, which is absolutely amazing for the girls. And when you get the opportunity to visit us, if you haven't already, you'll be able to see that we also have some fantastic specialist spaces for that learning to take place. And then it comes on to the aspiration. So one of the things that sometimes happens is that you can't be what you can't see. So if you haven't had the opportunity to see someone going off and doing the thing that maybe you kind of have in your head, but you're not quite sure what the job really is, it can be quite difficult to see your pathway there. Or even it can be quite difficult to think about what it would be like to be a GCSE student. And so actually the ethos at Tudor is very much about empowering the girls through those aspirational opportunities. So our Aim Higher programme is available for scholars with that real challenge for those girls, but it's actually open to everyone. So if you want to go and hear an amazing talk or be involved in a workshop, you can do that and hear from a fantastic range of people. And that includes our Tudor alumni. So our alumni range across all fields and are as diverse as the community that we have here. And so there's always somebody that we can put girls in touch with, or can offer work experience, or actually can just come and have a chat with the girls and inspire them. And then the perspiration. So that's actual physical perspiration, because unlike my teacher many years ago said to me, well, of course, you know, girls glow when they are undertaking physical activity. We do fully encourage Tudor girls to get stuck in and stuck into absolutely every aspect of the curriculum. So there is dance and there is sport, of course, for the girls every week as part of the curriculum, and then also in a very wide range of other opportunities that Sadie will speak to you a little bit more about later. But there's also the perspiration that comes through the hard work, through the things that you don't find as easy, where you need to find that grit and that resilience to rise to a challenge. And that's where the team around you really comes into play. That's where the team around you is so incredibly important as a young person going through the school. And each girl is in a tutor group with a tutor who looks after their academics, as well as seeing them every day to go through an impact programme of tutoring and pastoral care, which Kate will talk about, but then monitoring at that really day-to-day level how each girl is getting on. So you're not waiting for a report to find out how things are going. And that level of support for the teachers extends past the tutor into each subject. So what is the beauty of being in a boarding school like this is that you're just as likely to have the opportunity to go and work on your textiles on a Saturday morning or on a Friday evening, or to go and get some extra help with your history essay, or to have some additional math support at any point in the week. And our teachers are so generous and giving of their time. And at this point, therefore, it's a really good opportunity to hear from Kate, who can talk to you about how the other side of what's going to make the girls successful can be nurtured.
Thank you, Emma. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kate SIMLETT. I'm the Deputy Head Pastoral. And first and foremost to say is that the pastoral care is at the heart of everything that we do at Tudor. As Emma said, the relationships that are formed between the staff and the pupils or the girls, and even the relationship between the girls themselves, is really such a key part to what we do. And because of the environment that we're in, the boarding environment, that really is something that is nurtured all the time. And it's those relationships that really make the pastoral care something special. We are a close community, and that is very much evident in when you see the girls around and the interaction with each other and the staff, and you will see that as you walk around the school on an everyday basis. So we have horizontal houses, so the girls remain in their horizontal years, and that is also really key to all those relationships, because the girls really do get to know each other as a year group, and they really do form very, very close bonds in their year groups. And the girls will talk about that a lot as they move through the school, and especially when they get to the end of their upper 6th year, they have something really unique and something very, very special that they take with them. And even though we are boarding, our day girls are very much integrated into our everyday life. The day is structured in such a way that the day girls will do everything that the boarders do. So in the year 7s, as we said, we call them our TODs, through to the 4s, their day is jam-packed. They will spend the whole day together, and including their prep in the evening. And then when you get to year 11, the 5s, up to upper 6, then everybody's more integrated into the boarding house, and the day girls have special place within the house. So everybody is part of that community. And that is one of the special things about our school, is that everybody is in it together. And so that's sort of, if I lead then on to sort of weekends, and Emma's talked about how the weekends are an opportunity to focus on, other subjects, but actually the weekends are full of activity for the girls all throughout the weekend. So Saturdays and Sundays, the girls will be in, there'll be so many things going on. And again, day girls are part of that. They can come in and be part of all those things that make those weekends really special. Now you may think, if I was a boarder, would I have to be in every weekend? The answer is no. We have privileged weekends because it's really important that there are times when you can go home, that you can spend time with your family. But also it's important that we have you all here, because that actually is what formulates these relationships and really allows the girls to bond together and do lots of fun things. So that's a really important part of what we do. So Emma talked a little bit about the tutors, and so the team around the girls in their support. I think it's really important to say that every girl at Tudor is an individual, and the support and care that we give each girl will be different depending on their needs. And that relationship actually starts well before that very first day at Tudor. We will get to know your daughters exceptionally well, so that when they do start, we understand what it is they may need in order to flourish and strive and start their journey at Tudor. So the tutors play a really important part in that. So in year 7 and 8, girls will have the same tutor, and that continuity is really important. And there'll also be a head of year who will work with the tutors, work with the girls, work with the house staff to ensure that the girls have what they need in those really early days. And then in year 9, the 3s, they will then go into different tutor groups, and they will stay within those tutor groups for 3 years, and they will also have a head of year, and they will all move together up the years. And again, it's that relationship that the tutor will form with their tutees that is exceptionally important, and they'll get to know them, and all those really important times along the way, they're there to help and support them. And then in sixth form, again, it'll be, the opportunity, we have integrated tutor groups up in actually years 7 and 8 and in the sixth form. So they get to know the different years, but again, that tutor role is essential with up in the sixth form, the head of sixth form. And that's where parents also play a really important part, because the tutor, the heads of year, the house staff, myself, we will all get to know the parents very well. And that relationship is really key when it comes to pastoral care at Tudor. But it doesn't end there. It's a all wraparound care. So we have our health centre, our chaplain, Reverend Allison, our school counsellors, the school doctor, and all the staff at Tudor are there to look after the girls and ensure that they are cared for in the way that they need. And as I said, to ensure that they are flourishing. So when they leave school, they have all these skills and the confidence to go on and do whatever it is they want to do. And that is, the most important part of that journey. So that pastoral care is exceptionally important, along with the academics, to give them all the skills that they need in their journey. Now, I touched on the weekends a little bit, and of course, there's a lot more things and activities that go on around the academics and what they might do in the boarding houses. And so I'm going to pass on to SADIE, the Director of Co-Curriculum, who can give you a little bit more insight into all the other amazing things that the girls do.
Thank you very much, Kate. So I'm SADIE. I'm the Director of Co-Curriculum and Outreach. You've heard from Emma about the academic life of the school and from Kate about the pastoral life of the school. So now it's time to hear about the final piece of the puzzle, which is the co-curriculum. I'm going to try and tell you a little bit about what it is, what it looks like, and what it sets out to do. So in a nutshell, the co-curriculum describes everything that happens outside of academic lessons, all the activities, clubs, trips, day trips, residential trips, school events such as our NG lecture series, the infamous dog show, outreach events and charity work. As you can see, it's vast. No stone is really left unturned when it comes to providing a massive range of opportunities for the girls, from igniting academic curiosity on school trips to art galleries, museums, to developing resilience and problem solving on Duke of Edinburgh expeditions and outdoor and adventure weekends, to improving public speaking skills in debating and MUN. Currently, there is much discussion about the development of young people's personal skills. And as a school, we place considerable value on developing both these in academic lessons and in co-curricular activities. We are really aware that employers look for far more than decent academic qualifications these days. They're looking for organised, self-motivated, confident employees who can collaborate and communicate with one another with a team, and also work independently to solve problems. So our co-curriculum really helps the girls to develop all of these skills. Each and every one of our activities in the programme details which skills the girls will develop from taking part. So this then allows the girls to be selective in the activities that they choose. They learn to be reflective about their personal development, and as a result, they choose activities which challenge them, inspire them, and develop them to help them reach their personal goals. We also recognise the importance of taking part in activities for fun. And although we have a huge wealth of opportunities for the girls to reach the highest levels, particularly in sport and music and drama, we also completely appreciate that the girls have to learn to take part in activities that will allow them just to completely unwind and relax and learn to look after their mental well-being. So clubs like Keep Calm and Carry Yarn, which is our knitting club, which spends time knitting and eating biscuits. I'm not sure which one comes more important, but both seem fun. We have yoga and mindfulness, and these really help the girls find their inner calm in the busy world around them. I think my personal favourite is probably baking club, and I always try to wander past when they're finishing just to sample some of the tasty treats the girls whip up. our school motto, which Wendy touched on at the start of Habio at Dem, I have that I may give, runs through many of our co-curricular clubs and activities. As a school, we offer a huge range of outreach events to local schools and community groups, and the girls play a key role in the delivery of all of them. The girls in Todd in Year 7 take part in a volunteering club. They also run a Christmas tea party for elderly guests from a local care home. The twos go into a local primary school to perform their arts award pieces and sing carols at Christmas in town. The threes take part in a Lent appeal, and the further the girls go up the school, the more varied the options become. Our lower sixth all take part in an outreach programme which involves them volunteering in a variety of local establishments such as local primary schools, care homes, Banbury Help the Homeless and food banks, and many more. Our Tudor in 3 Continents programme, which has been running now for over 12 years, allows the lower sixth pupils and the staff the opportunity to really put Habio at Dem into practice by volunteering with charitable organisations on a number of development projects supporting children. And the girls fundraise for these projects throughout the year before travelling in October half term to provide practical support. So organisations that were visited in October 2019, obviously before COVID, were South Africa, Bolton, Cambodia and India, where they were supporting a new charity in India which provided shelter, support, education, healthcare to over 1,000 children. So each year the girls of all ages take part in a massive variety of charity events, from the infamous Chambers Mud Run, or more recently it's morphed into a colour run, much more technical, and the girls run around and get sprayed with multicolours in white t-shirts, which is fantastic, to the £10 challenge, the cabaret evenings for parents organised completely by the girls. So as you can see, we pride ourselves on listening to the student voice, and our co-curriculum and outreach events are constantly evaluated and reviewed to ensure that they suit the needs of and requirements of each and every girl. So please do have a look at the co-curriculum guide on the website, which will give you full details of all of the clubs that we currently have on offer, an idea of all of the personal skills that the programme helps us to develop.
Hi, I'm Bea and I'm in lower sixth as a boarder. I'm currently studying economics, geography and maths for A-level. And having originally been slightly concerned about my A-level choices and doubting economics, as well as having no idea what my future was going to look like, I've now decided that I want to continue studying economics at university, hopefully. And I joined Tudor in the 3s, which is year 9, as a boarder, having come from a boarding prep school, Winchester House. So now I'm just going to hand over to OTTI, who will introduce herself too.
Hi, I'm OTTI. So I am also in lower sixth and I'm currently studying English, History of Art and Geography. Unlike Bea, I kind of had my sights set on English from the beginning, but starting A-levels confirmed it, so that is what I hope to do at university. I joined in Todd, so that's year 7, as a day girl, and then in 6th form became a boarder, and I joined from a local primary school.
Girls, thank you very much for that overview of where you are at the moment and your journey so far. And we'd love now to move to some questions. And I can see, thank you, a number of people have written questions in the chat function or in the question and answer, and we'll aim to answer as many of those as we can now. And I'll direct them to a number of our panelists. So the first one, OTTI, which I'll direct to you, is about your starting point. You joined us in at Tudor in Todd in year 7. Can you tell us a bit about how that was, joining at that age, and how you settled as a day girl and got to foster friendships with the boarders? Yeah,
absolutely. I joined, obviously very nervous, but I fitted in right away. It was so easy to fit in. And as a day girl, it was, again, really easy to become friends with boarders. I mean, you spend your whole time with the boarders. There's no separation. You're with them the whole time. There is no divide, and it's great. You have such great friendships so quickly, and it's just wonderful. I loved it.
And Bea, for you, it's a slightly different experience joining in the 3s, an existing year group. Tell us about that and how you you integrated within that year group?
So for me, I actually found it really reassuring that sort of half of our year had already been at Tudor for 2 years, because despite the fact that you get to share the excitement of starting a new school and starting Tudor with the other half who are also new, it's really reassuring to know that there are so many girls in your year who are familiar with the school and know it well, and they just help you settle in really quickly. And the house mistresses and tutors are really, really good at making sure everyone integrates really quickly. Tutor time being one of those examples, but also every weekend is filled with lots of activities that can get everyone to get to know each other. So my first weekend at Tudor involved going on a residential trip to the Quantocks, which we did sort of team building activities, and just got to know everyone in your year really quickly.
Thank you, Bea. And I'm going to direct this one to Kate Simlett, our deputy head. So we've had some questions here about what happens in terms of weekends and how often you might be able to visit your daughters, and whether they have any privileged weekends.
Thank you. Yes, so the privileged weekends, they do have one of those in the term, and but how we set up the weekends is that obviously it's really important for the girls to settle, and that's one of the main focuses when they start. But we have a variety of functions which we like parents to come to, so parents can come and visit and see the girls in between, and then the girls will work with their house staff in terms of which privileged weekend they'll have out, which is normally after the half term, because we like the first half of term to help them to settle. The first weekend and the last weekend of every term is always a closed weekend, and that is where we require the girls to be in school, and we normally have a lot of big functions on that weekend, so it is really good fun. But in between that, there are functions for parents to come into school, because we know it's really important that there's that opportunity for them to do that, but also for us to see the parents as well. And then as the girls get older in school, those weekends slightly change. We have when the girls get into the 3s and upwards, a divisional system which they can work towards. They have manners, and they all allow them to have slightly more privileges, which does bring them an additional weekend going forward, especially if they are in Division 1, which is really good, because it's something nice for the girls to work towards. And then in sixth form, it's slightly different again.
And Bea, can you run us through a typical day? What time do things start happening? What happens as you go through the day until supper and beyond?
Yes, so in the mornings we have tutor time at 8:20 for 15 minutes, which is really nice. So you can just sort of speak to your tutor if you have any issues, or it's just good so that you can get ready for your lessons. And then we'll have, depending on whether you're doing A-levels or not, but there are two lessons before break, which is 20 minutes just before 11. And then there's another lesson, which if you're doing A-levels, maybe an A-level lesson or a free period. And lunch is then an hour. The afternoon is 2 more lessons. And then at 4 o'clock, lessons end, and we have tea for an hour, which we might have various curricular activities during that time. And then for my year, I have prep from 5 till 6, and then I have supper, and then I have second prep after that, which ends at 8. And at that point, day girls may go home or stay for a bit longer, but if not, that's sort of a chance for all the boarders to wind down and sort of stop work for the day.
Thank you, Bea. And we've had a few questions about academic support, and in particular the learning support that's available at school, and I'd like to ask Emma Bell, please, to answer that one.
I just want to add that those girls starting in year 7 won't be in prep until 8 p.m. So that obviously ramps up as the girls go through the school. So they do have a prep session, before they go home, but that actually finishes quite a bit earlier, and they would go into supper at 6:30, or be able to go home after that. In terms of learning support, you know, everybody has a different way of learning, and every girl deserves to have that different way of learning unlocked for them, and very much of that can go on in the classroom. So very much of that we share pupil passports. So if a pupil has something that they join us with as a diagnosed need, then obviously they will work really, really closely with our head of learning support, and to make sure that we have all the information that we need. And then there's a pupil passport that is really helpful, that is discussed with each pupil, where they say, you know, this really helps me. It's really useful for me maybe to get things shared with me in advance, or to know what's coming in a lesson. So we have that kind of thing, which really works in the classroom. And then, of course, for some girls, they need a bit of support outside of the classroom as well. That might be in maths, that might be in English, it might be in a language if it's something that they haven't done before, particularly if they join us at a different stage. And those things will take place wherever possible outside of normal lesson times. So the focus is on that integration in the classroom of being with their peers, getting involved, doing the things that everybody's doing, and having support. You know, our lunch times allow for 2 sessions. There's 2 half-hour sessions really within the lunch. So sometimes girls in the lower year groups will have something there, sometimes in the tea slot at 4 o'clock. Sometimes actually girls with a range of additional needs may actually have a slightly adapted curriculum, and in which case, therefore, they may have alternative times in the week. But it's all very much done in collaboration and really thinking about what is right for each pupil, because there's nothing worse if you're somebody who needs a bit of support in English in being taken out of your favourite subject elsewhere in the curriculum just to do more English. So we are really, really conscious of that with the support. So hopefully that answers your question, and obviously we will have individual conversations with anybody who has questions or concerns about learning support needs.
Thank you. And back to the co-curriculum for a moment. We've had a few questions about equestrian teams and whether we have drama and art, and also how often we have sport in school in the week. So I'll ask Sadie, please, to answer that one.
Might remind me of all of them. That was a lot of questions in one go. I'll start with the equestrian. Yes, we do have a school equestrian team. The team train together, and the girls take part in a variety of different riding events throughout the year. We have one equestrian team squad session a half a term, so 6 in the year, and then the girls obviously go and train on their own ponies at times that suit them. In terms of art and drama, we have a whole host of art and drama activities in the co-curriculum for every year group, from pottery to etching to figure drawing, and the same with drama, from comedy, improvisation to Macbeth. So there's a massive, a huge range of activities in both of those departments. And you might have to remind me, Susie, what the last one was.
How much time is dedicated to sport in
the most important one, since I'm a PE teacher. So the girls have a huge amount of sport, actually. It's slightly different in different year groups, but each year group have a games afternoon. So they have a 2.5-hour games afternoon during the week, which is when they have fixtures and matches. They also have access to another game session within the school curriculum. And then on a Saturday morning and afternoon, there are swimming lessons and game sessions and PE sessions as well. So within the co-curricular, there's opportunities every single lunchtime, tea time, and after supper for the girls to get involved in a whole range of activities. So yeah, plenty of opportunities for sport.
Thank you. And could I go to OTTI for the next one? Phones. Could you just talk us through when you might get your phone from younger down the school and further up into the sixth form?
So starting in Todd, you start with, I think, 10 minutes a day. I hope I'm right. And then as you move up the school, obviously you mature, hopefully, and so you're allowed your phone more. And by the time you get to the 5s, which is year 11, you have it from 4 onwards, till 9, and then it's taken away from you at night. And then in sixth form, it's full time. So slowly increases as you mature.
Thank you, Otti. And a couple of questions here about medical matters. A few questions about if a child has got a chronic condition, perhaps, and the support given there that's available, and also as a school, how we monitor pupils' mental health along their journey with us. So I'll pass that to Kate SIMLETT, please.
Thank you, Susie. Yes, with regards to chronic diseases, obviously we have a full-time health centre who are here seven days a week, 24 hours a day, and they do have experience in dealing with a number of different conditions. And that's something that you'll be able to discuss prior to coming to school. But yes, they do have experience in that, and a care plan would be set up for that individual girl. In terms of mental health and well-being, that is an extremely important part, and something that we've introduced over the last year is actually a well-being tracker, which the tutors do with the girls on a fortnightly basis, where they are tracking and rating themselves in a number of different areas. And that allows us just to keep engaged and on top of how the girls are doing, but also actually just through the interactions of the house staff and the time that they spend with the girls, and the tutors and staff themselves. So there's a number of different elements, and the contact time that we do have with the girls in school allows us to really keep a close eye on them, and then that relationship as well. The girls are very open with the staff, and so all these combinations together allow us to keep on top of that, and then obviously relationship with parents, and that feedback coming in from home as well. So all those different areas allow us just to keep an eye on that and to see how the girls are going on a daily, weekly, and even termly basis.
And Wendy, could you talk a little bit more about travel arrangements for those that don't live in the vicinity?
So for exeats and half term, and perhaps I'll just explain that because somebody asked at the beginning about whether we were weekly boarding. So we are a full boarding school, but as Kate suggested earlier, full boarding is a very, very important part of what we are, but we appreciate that the girls need to see their parents and you need to see them. So actually in the autumn term, there are 3 fixed exeats, and they start at lunchtime on a Friday and they go through to Sunday evening around 7 o'clock. Now, if your daughter lives in London, if you live in London as well, presumably, she would be able to travel by bus supervised by a member of staff at exeat and at half term. Somebody optimistically asked in the questions, I noticed, could they have that at the beginning and end of term? Your daughter obviously travels light. I'm afraid our girls seem to bring most of what they own, and so we see parents arriving with one family have actually brought a trailer in the past because they had 2 girls and they couldn't get everything in the car. So we don't supervise travel at the beginning or end of term. If, however, you're overseas and you need supervision to the airport, yes, we provide all of that. We provide supervised taxi service to the station. And if starting in September, if you live in the Oxford region, we'll have a bus picking up at Banbury Station if you were a day pupil wanting to travel into Tudor Hall. We also have, if there are day pupils listening, we have 2 buses that run different routes, one up from Chipping Norton and one out from Charlton at the moment through Ainhoe into Tudor, morning and evening. So I hope I've covered all the travel aspects there.
Thank you. And Emma, if I could direct this question to you, which is about the university application process, and also if people are thinking of applying to perhaps America and how that works at Tudor.
Yeah, absolutely. So the destinations of our girls are really as diverse in many ways as they are, although we do have some firm favourites amongst the university destinations, and I think I'll also ask Bea to speak about that a little bit more. So Russell Group universities within the UK, with Exeter being a very firm favourite alongside Durham, but also obviously Oxbridge applications, but actually also our girls, because they are diverse and they're looking for excellence in the thing that is their real passion, Girls will also go on to specialist conservatoires, art schools, or actually look abroad as well. So there is support for entry to any kind of university. We've had people studying in Barcelona very recently, as well as studying in the States. And some girls actually looking at some Eastern European universities as well. So there's support for all of that. We have a dedicated careers advisor, and also the head of sixth form is involved. And we also use a fantastic online platform called Unifrog, which is really helpful for parents and girls to actually collaborate and to look at things together. And even if you're not together physically, and you're able to actually track your areas of interest and things that you're doing in addition to your core curriculum, all the way from year 9 on that. So you start building your portfolio of interests and things that might help you to decide on your next steps. So I'll pass over to Bea, because it's a process that she and others in the lower six have just started going through. So I thought you might like to add something about support given and maybe the kinds of destinations that you and your friends are looking at.
Yeah, so from in threes when I joined, which is year 9, she would gradually give you lots of information about potential career paths just to get you thinking early. And until recently, I have been completely clueless. But yeah, so they just give you lots of these opportunities just to explore potential futures. And now in sixth form, every week we have a session on a Friday, which is dedicated to sort of planning our futures, especially now as we start the personal statement process. And we've had lots of talks about different unis. As Miss Bell mentioned, we've got so much information on the platform Unifrog, which just has everything you'd want to know and want to find out about universities on it. And we also use that to help write our CVs and personal statements. So I've used that to find out a bit about potential courses, as I mentioned, economics perhaps, and find out more information about universities. So at the moment, I'm thinking of potentially going to Edinburgh, Exeter, or Durham, hopefully.
Kate, could you tell us a little bit about how often parents can visit their daughters at school, and also just a bit about how the boarding houses work in terms of their structure?
So parent visits are arranged through the houses, and actually when it comes to the weekend and sometimes in the week, if your daughter had a birthday, that can be arranged, and you know, that obviously you know, as and when needed, but obviously it's important that the girls are involved in the things that they're doing. And then on the weekends though, of course, there's sport, and you know, we love the parents to come along and have watch them play the sport, and when we have productions on and various other things, it's great that parents are able to come in and watch their daughters in the various things, from the concerts to the drama productions and a whole variety of things. So that's very much down to the individual and to the boarding house, and the house staff would liaise with you as a parent in terms of that. How the boarding houses work, I think the question is just around dorms and how often they move around. So when the girls start, it's really important that we mix all the girls up, and because as Philly's just said, now that actually we have girls coming from all different areas and different schools, that it's important that they get to know each other in the year group, and I talked about that really close bond, and that's where it starts. So every term the girls will move dorms, and they'll move around the house to different dorms, they'll have different roommates, and that will happen all the way through till they get to the upper sixth, when actually they have single rooms. But even then, it's really important to the girls where they are and the pods that they're in and the friends that they have. But it's all about that integration, getting to know each other, getting to know all the girls in that year group. So it's really important to us that actually they are moving around and getting to know different girls in those different terms within their dorms.
Thank you. OTTI, can you tell us a bit about how the transition was for you from being in the state system and moving into Tudor?
Well, joining in Todd, I found it very easy. I joined and there was a range of girls from loads of different schools. There were girls from other state schools. I didn't join with anybody from my school, but there were girls who come from all sorts of different areas and places in different schools. So it was really easy, really seamless. There was just very easy. It was lovely.
It's fantastic, a smooth transition to be with us. And Wendy, could you tell us a little bit about church and other religious activities that take place at school?
So Tudor has an Anglican foundation, and we do have, as Kate mentioned, a full-time chaplain, the Reverend Alison, who's been with us for a couple of years and is much loved and part of the community, and from all aspects of the community and all parts of the community. So she is somebody that the girls would go to on a regular basis if they wanted to chat about something, which isn't something that perhaps they would want to talk to a counsellor, but it is something that they'd rather have an adult listen to. So Alison is very much a big part of what we are. That said, and she is at the moment preparing the girls for confirmation, actually we also prepare girls. We have girls who go to Catholic Church in Banbury and prepare them at the moment for Catholic confirmation. But obviously as a school, we're an inclusive community, and therefore we recognise that actually the Anglican Church, in fact I'm not an Anglican, isn't what actually everybody wants. That said, because it underpins who we are, it is part of our ethos, and the boarders do go to a service on a Sunday, but that's at school, and it's done for our girls. And sometimes it's just a junior service for years 1, 2, and sometimes a whole school service of all the boarders. We have, dependent on feast days, we do sometimes have whole school services, Ash Wednesday, for example, during the week, but that's about the only one now. We have a carol service, obviously, which is a big part of Tudor, but I think it's important to say that actually we are underpinned by that foundation, but actually we welcome people of all faiths.
And Emma, just an overview, please, of results at GCSE and A-level.
Yes, of course. I mean, we celebrate the achievements of all our girls, and so we will be cheering equally for the girls who are getting 3 A stars at A-level, of whom there are a number who will achieve that outstanding achievement every year. And we will also be cheering the girls who have really worked to their utmost and will be achieving B grades at A-level and going on. So it's really about that personal journey of development and achievement, the inspiration, aspiration, perspiration that has got them there. In terms of the kinds of results that you would expect over the last few years, about 75% of grades have been A star to B. So about 3/4 of grades A star to B at A level. And then at GCSE, we'd probably be looking at, obviously, we're using the grades, the number system rather than letters, probably be looking at between 65 and 70% of those grades being 9 to 7, 9 being something like an A star under the old system. So girls do incredibly well at Tudor, but what we're most proud of is the value that we add as they go through the school from their starting points, and really helping them to develop and grow and go on to these outstanding achievements. And obviously we do have a scholarship program that recognises pupils who have outstanding passion and drive and determination and enthusiasm for different areas. And so they will range across from academic through sports, drama and arts to enable pupils to really maximise their talents and also to explore other things that they're really excited by.
Thank you. And Lucy, could you tell us a little bit about class sizes at different points in the school, and also whether the girls use devices or not?
Sure. So in Key Stage 3, so years 7 to 9, a class size would probably be at its maximum at around 20, and is often very much smaller than that. And similarly at in Key Stage 4 as well, in year 10 and year 11. In the sixth form, class sizes can be extremely small, as in one person, but can be up to 12. Hope that answers your query.
Thank you, perfect. And could I ask this to OTTI, please? Do you think there's any challenges that you've faced either recently or over your journey in Tudor? And can you tell us a little bit about how you've overcome those?
I don't think I've had any major challenges, but things like choosing A levels, choosing what I want to continue to do, I've obviously work-wise, there are always struggles that you have to work through, but the school's been so supportive. There's always someone you can speak to about it if you're confused or worried about anything. I mean, choosing A levels, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do, but I spoke to a member of SMT and I was put on the right path, and I'm so happy with my choices. So anything that you're struggling with, there's always somebody who you can speak to and they will support you.
Perfect, thank you, OTTI. And Emma, could I ask you to share a little bit about our learnings from this period of distance learning and things that we might be taking forward?
Yeah, so obviously not having been able to be together as a community, our very first thought, as we could see last February, things in Asia starting to happen and schools closing there, we started thinking about how can we keep in touch with one another and how can we keep the learning going. So actually right from the very beginning, just before schools in the UK were requested to close, we'd actually already set up through Microsoft and through Teams, we'd actually set up a distance learning platform and trained all the staff and girls in that so that we could move seamlessly to that as we went into the lockdown period. So girls had not just some provision, but actually you had full days, didn't you girls, all the way through that period, going from tutor time, including PE, including extra things that they might have been doing, music lessons, etc. And of course, feedback and so on. And, you know, we just kept getting obviously more familiar with things as we went through. And there are things that we're bringing back into the classroom as a result of that. And one of those is the girls using their laptops for learning a lot more in the classroom. And actually that's allowing us to interact in a variety of different ways with the girls, which is brilliant. I wondered, Bea, if you wanted just to say anything else about the distance learning program, but also maybe about sort of how you've kept in touch with your house mistress and your tutor and so on through that period as well.
Yeah, so distance learning, I was really shocked at how quickly teachers and all the pupils just picked up with it really quickly, and teachers were constantly messaging, just making sure that we're okay, especially tutors and house mistresses. My house mistress had a Thursday afternoon slot where anyone could just call them and have a chat to them, but also were happy to speak to anyone on any day if they needed any help, because they knew obviously that it's so different going from lessons at school just to being by yourself at home. So the support was amazing, and also we found that online lessons actually worked out in the end very well, because it was really easy for literally anyone from across the world to watch the lesson, because they were recorded, which meant that if you missed anything or needed to have some help going through something, you could either just contact your teacher and have a quick Teams call or watch the recording again, which was really helpful.
Hi, I'm Kitty, joint head girl. I'm studying French, biology and philosophy, theology and ethics for A-level. I started in Todd, which is year 7, and I've been a day girl throughout, and I came from a primary school not far from Tudor.
I'm Caroline. I'm studying English, Spanish and philosophy, theology and ethics. I'm a boarder and I joined in 3s, which is year 9, and I came from Godstow School, which was a boarding prep school.
I'm Teaghan. I'm doing Spanish, psychology and biology for A-levels, and I also came in 3s with Caroline from a boarding prep school.
Thank you very much, girls. So parents and visitors with us today, there'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions a little bit later on. But I've got some questions I'm going to ask now to the head girl team, just to share a little bit of what Tudor life is like for them. So Kitty, we'll start with you, please. You arrived in Todd, year 7. Can you tell us how that was and how you felt settling in?
Yeah, so my first day at school seems like quite a long time ago now, but I remember settling in pretty quickly, coming to Tudor. It's so welcoming, all the staff were so caring. Our house mistress was Mrs. Butner-Rowley, and she was just so lovely to all of us. On our first weekend, we went to Cheddar Gorge, which we had a residential weekend, and it was so much fun, and I think it really united our year group. We did so many outdoor activities. I think when abseiling down a cliff, like, you quickly become friends with people, putting your trust in them.
And Caroline, can you take us to the other end of the school now? Talk us through a typical day for a sixth former.
Yeah, so usually we wake ourselves up. We're in single dorms now that we're in upper sixth, and we do a quick sign in with our house mistresses at about 8 o'clock. You can kind of stick your head in the hallway and let them know that you're awake. And then we go to our official registration with our tutors at 8:20 in the morning. And then from there, the day starts, and we have 9 periods in a day, and usually a double for each one of our A levels, or if you're doing 4 A levels, you'll do cover each one of those, and then if not, you'll also have a study period. And we also do double sport lessons 2 times a week. We have a break from 10:55 till 11:15, which is nice in the morning, so you can kind of gather the books that you need and also just have a little bit of a rest in between lessons. And then lunch starts at 12:20, and during this time usually girls can go to a club, or say you're in sixth form, you might go for a driving lesson, or anything you really want to do to fill your time. That's your time that you can spend doing what you want. And then lessons continue and they finish at 4. And again, that's tea time. So usually you go collect a snack or something from house, or you go to the dining hall. And then prep starts at 5:15, and so you can get, that's a good time where you'll either go to your classrooms, or now we're in upper sixth, we work in our dorms and we can just get anything that we want to get done. So at the moment, loads of us who are doing English have been working on our coursework during prep time, and then we go to supper at 6 o'clock, have a bit more time, and then second prep starts, and girls are welcome to go to the library or other classrooms around the school within their bubble to go work and focus on their studies then. But then after that, the day's yours and you can get relaxed.
Teagan, a little bit more about your role as charity prefect and what charity work Tudor's involved in at the moment.
So I would have to say that the centre of Tudor really is the charity. We help both with the local community here in Banbury, with other organisations, and of course Tudor in 3 continents, going all the way across the globe to help. So each year we choose a charity to support. So for example, this year we chose Thames Valley Air Ambulance, which is really close to Tudor's heart. And all the charity events we do, such as Colour Run, which we did, which was a huge success. We have bake sales coming up on Wednesday from the girls who do Leith's cookery course. So all of that goes towards our chosen charity. Also, with the local community, every Thursday, the lower sixth go and help out at schools such as William Morris, or other schools such as Frank Wise, which specialise with children with disabilities. And they do that every Thursday afternoon to help, as well as Tudor in 3 continents, which also happens in the lower sixth, where again, you go to these amazing places. For example, I went to Cambodia, where we worked at this charity school. And as Ms. Griffiths was saying, it really was a penny drop moment, working with these children who were honestly so happy and so lovely. But when one day we went to go visit their homes in these slums, it was such a penny drop moment. Like, all of us just came to realize how privileged we were. And I really have to say the school motto, Habiat Dem, meaning I have that I may give, really is the centre of the school.
Thank you, Teagan. Kitty, on the co-curriculum, you're quite heavily involved in it. Can you tell us what you do and why you enjoy it so much?
Yeah, so there are just so many co-curricular activities, I think over 80 that you can get involved with. For me, I love being involved in the music department. I play the violin, piano, and I sing. So there's so much on offer. I do chamber choirs, senior choir, orchestra and string group. Obviously at the moment it's slightly restricted, but there's still so much going on. We're managing to still do choir socially distanced, which I think is amazing and great to still be able to sing. And the music department have been so supportive, and I'm hoping to apply for a core scholarship. The support is really great. And I also do tennis, which is great to get active and be with friends. In the younger years, I've done hockey and netball, and yeah, the sports department, there's just so much going on. I think it's amazing. There's the Aim Higher Scholars Programme, which I'm part of, and we have talks given by people, and yeah, going beyond the classroom. I think doing co-curricular, you meet different people from like different departments and different year groups getting together, doing stuff away from studies, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Thank you, Kitty. Caroline, you joined us in the threes, year 9, as a boarder. How did you feel joining an existing year group, and what helped you to integrate within it?
Yeah, so I think joining a school, especially when it's not the start of the school, it can always be really nerve-wracking. And I came from a prep school where I had done a year of boarding beforehand. So I'd had a bit of experience of boarding when I came, but it was quite scary. I'm quite a nervous person. So one thing that really helped massively was we had a big residential trip to Quantock Lodge. And so the whole year group, we all went, and we were doing things like canoeing and abseiling down things and group activities, which was just really good fun. And it's a great opportunity to bond with everyone in your year group. And then there are just things that you do with your year as an activity, like go down to the Japanese gardens and just ask each other questions and do little challenges together. So that really helped us kind of bond. And then on the weekends, we do activities to make sure that we're all spending so much time together. And also something that I don't think I realised helped a lot was the fact that the dorms are bigger when you're in the lower years of the school. So when I joined in threes, I had a dorm of 6 girls. And so every night we were just chatting away, and that was a great way to get to know everyone and settle in. And then the staff, of course, were a huge help. If you're ever feeling homesick or you want to call home, just go into the office if it's not phone time, and they'll let you use the landline. So they were a great help as well.
And Teagan, you're applying for university in America at the moment. Can you tell us a little bit more about that process?
So I grew up in the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean, and then came to boarding school when I was 10, and that was my prep school till I moved to Tudor. So I decided quite like last year that I really wanted to branch out and do something different. So I decided to apply to Uni in America. I don't think the staff at Tudor, I think I was quite surprised to them. It had been a couple of years since someone had applied, and I think the last person who applied went to Parsons, so it's a slightly different application process because it's an art school. But honestly, they've been so helpful from everything from I've been getting extra maths lessons with our head of maths for my SATs. Everyone's been helping me organize my time to do all the essays, like English department helping me with the essays. And staff have just been so supportive and so helpful. And I'm really looking forward to the academic opportunities there. As you're saying, lower down in the school, you're provided with every single academic opportunity. And it's quite the same idea there, is you don't have to choose your major straight away. You can have a bit of everything, which is I think I like because of Tudor. And I'm just really looking forward to it. I think as Ms. Griffiths would say, I'm aiming higher and just really excited.
Great, thank you, Teagan. Kitty, can you tell us a little bit more about the opportunities available for students in the sixth form?
Yeah, so in sixth form, there are so many opportunities, and I think there are a lot more privileges as well being in sixth form. So as mentioned, there's the trip Tudor in 4 continents, where you can go to Bolton, Cambodia, Chennai and Johannesburg and do charity work. And I think if you asked anyone who went, like, it's just an amazing experience that there is on offer. There's also the Warriors program, which people go on and jump out of planes and do amazing things there. There's also the opportunity to apply for a travel scholarship. So I applied and with a friend, and it's a great opportunity to practice interviewing skills and applications. And hopefully we'll be going to Sardinia and Corsica next year, all dependent on situation. But I think, yeah, we learned so much from applying, and yeah, in sixth form, it's great that they have that on offer. There's also the careers evenings where you get a really nice dinner, and there are talks from loads of amazing people, some old Tudorians and others part of the alumni, and learning about specific topics. So law or something, they change every time, and they're great to get an insight. And there's also Cafe 6, which the sixth form, it's open every day, and people in sixth form can work there, and then they get a qualification of a barista, which is great. We have bar nights every Friday, which the sixth form love. And yeah, there's so many activities going on in the evenings and at the weekends, as mentioned, Tudor Fest, the Colour Run, and then some more relaxed, like going to for a pub lunch or film in the house. So yeah, there's so much going on, it's great.
Kitty. On to Caroline, can you tell us a little bit about how the privileges change as you move through the school?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that usually springs to mind is phone time. From coming in Todd, which is year 7, to having 10 minutes on your phone a day, and then handing in all the way through up to upper 6th, where we don't have phone hand-in time, and we're completely in control of how we handle our time and deal with all of that stuff. So that's a big thing, that you kind of, as you move up through the school, you get more time and more independence. And then also things like going out on the weekend. In Todd mainly it's on exeats, whilst now in upper 6th you slowly get more freedom, and we can go home on the weekends and from 4 p.m. on a Friday. And then in the 5s, which is GCSE year, girls don't have to wear uniform anymore. You can then go into home clothes, and that means, you know, being able to wear jewellery, which is really exciting when you hit that time. Also going to the farm shop, you're able to walk down past the Japanese gardens up to the farm shop, which is really exciting, and you go in groups of 3 and you sign out from house. And then also things like when you get into sixth form, you then have study periods, which are really important, and I think have taught us quite a lot about our time management and revision, and you have to kind of take advantage of these opportunities that you're given. So that's really exciting. And yeah, that's mainly the key changes that happen as you go through the school.
Thanks, Caroline. And to Teagan, can you talk us through the academic support available to pupils, please?
So I think the academic staff and general academic support at Tudor is second to none. It truly is amazing. And I think a real ode to this is how well everyone coped with lockdown. Lockdown was such a difficult period for pupils and especially for staff. I mean, it was so hard teaching online, but they did such an amazing job. All of my lessons were so good, so engaging. I know, for example, in biology, we're even ahead of the course, which is truly amazing, seeing as how long lockdown was. Apart from this, in school, the academic staff are still, I mean, amazing. There's so many opportunities. You have clinics and drop-ins for each subject. I mean, even if that doesn't work for you, whenever you want, you can just ask a teacher to come meet you and talk through a topic. That's another good thing about boarding, is that you can just get them to come to the house in the evenings, and they're always more than happy to. If you want, there's learning support available for everyone. And I know that in sixth form, Tudor's just got a new life coach, which Sophie's going to see her, organising time and stuff like that. And everyone's been loving it. So it's so useful. And yeah, I think none of us expected how much the workload would increase from lower sixth to upper sixth. But again, the staff have just helped us so much through that.
And we'd like to talk now, please, to Rosie Dunbar, who we welcome back today, having arrived in Todd with us, so in year 7, and she finished her A-levels in 2017, and she's currently studying medicine. Rosie, it's great to have you with us today. You're at the end almost of your degree now. And before we talk about that, I want to take you back to the very beginning of your academic career with us here at Tudor. And could you tell us about your first few days? Can you remember what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely quite a long time ago for me now. But yeah, I mean, obviously I remember being quite nervous, quite scared of going into a whole new living away from home situation, completely different people and stuff. But I don't remember ever being that sad, to be honest. I had a great time. We all settled in pretty quickly. I think the main thing about the first year house, Todd House, which I really liked, is the fact that it's further away from the rest of the school, so you really do have like proper time with your own year and really like getting to know them and stuff, and there are no sort of scary old years walking around that are always very intimidating. I remember looking up at the sixth formers being like, oh my god, you're so old, never thinking I'd get there. But yeah, no, it's a really cozy and friendly atmosphere, and you know, you're doing activities every weekend, so you don't really have time to get homesick or anything like that. Yeah, I don't remember much, to be honest, but surely that's a good thing, because I'd probably remember the bad things, I suppose.
And leading on from that, Rosie, can you just share a couple of your fondest memories of Tudor?
To be honest, they're probably the times we weren't being particularly well behaved. But I won't go into those. But to be honest, the best memories are all to do with like the friends that we had around us and that kind of thing. Weirdly enough, I thoroughly enjoyed my A-levels, because we were all just in the library all together all the time, but working very hard, but having a bit of a giggle, which was really nice. And that was a very good support network to have around you during quite like that stressful time. What else? I loved Dear V. Dear V was great. We canoed down the River Wye. It was freezing, but very funny, lots of songs sung. And then things like I myself did the Warriors program. We went to South Africa, and that was just a week of madness, really, just jumping out of planes, jumping off bridges, just having loads of fun, meeting people from different schools, and also obviously just being in South Africa for a week. I mean, what more could you want?
And as you're doing medicine at the moment, did you always want to do medicine?
I remember getting first interested in about sort of 4th year, because science had always been my strong point, and stuff. And so I was lucky enough to get some work experience in a hospital shadowing a urologist. So I saw a couple of surgeries, which was unreal. And from there, I just sort of, my interest grew. Did a bit more work experience, started volunteering at Banbury Health and Wellbeing while I was at school. And yeah, just went from there.
And then beyond the academic work, Wendy mentioned you were involved in quite a lot of the co-curricular. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my main interest was a mixture of sport and music, I'd say. I played a lot of tennis and hockey, which was great fun. Music-wise, I played the trumpet, which I haven't picked up for a while, actually. I should probably get back into that. Played the trumpet, I sang, and I did a bit of piano, and that was lovely. So I was involved in much of the same things as Kitty was, really, you know, orchestra, chamber choir. I did a bit of speech and drama for a bit, but drama wasn't my strong suit, I'd say. But there are also things that I did there. I remember dissection club with biology, which was great fun. I remember cutting open a rat, which was kind of gross, but really fun. And especially with, you know, being interested in medicine and stuff, that was epic to be able to have that opportunity as well. And DV, as I mentioned before. There's probably loads more, but I can't remember.
And then kind of taking you to the next level, obviously you've gone through an education at an all-girls boarding school and moved into a co-ed education system. How did you find that transition?
Not difficult at all, to be honest. I didn't really feel like boys were an issue. I mean, well, I'm currently living in a house with 5 boys and 1 other girl, so it's gone well for me, I'd say, the transition. It's different, but it's not, you know, it's not, boys aren't scary to us, I don't think. We've been given a lot of confidence throughout our time at Tudor. I'd say we're better than boys, but hey.
And if you could pick up a couple of skills that maybe you learnt at Tudor that have stood you in good stead for your university degree, what would those be?
I'd say how to be able to work in like different environments. So like we all will, I'm sure it's the same now, but like we all had desks in our rooms, and we also had the library open to us, and that actually is a really good skill, I think, being able to work in your room but also being able to work surrounded by lots of other people is a really big skill. Organizing your time, because there's a lot going on sort of all the time, really. Finding that work-life balance is really important when you're at university, because, you know, if you don't do enough work, then you're sort of just bumming around doing nothing, but you can't do too much work because then you won't make any friends. And I think friends, as I said before, with Tudor, like friends are what, you know, make the world go round, really. I'd say social skills is actually a pretty big one as well. Being able just to walk up to someone and be like, hi, I'm Rosie. I've never met you before, but I'm on your corridor and what are you up to? Let's go have a coffee and get to know each other. Tudor's all about sort of boosting your confidence and making you feel like you can do sort of whatever you want to do, but also knowing that, you know, everyone's in the same boat, everyone's probably just as nervous as you are. And so being able to be that person that makes their day better by saying hi first, I think is super important. Tudor's always talking about making sure everyone's okay and being that person kind of thing.
Thank you, that's great. And just a couple of others to finish on, Rosie. What advice would you give to the audience in front of us here about joining Tudor?
I'd say enjoy it while it lasts, because it's going to be over a lot quicker than you anticipate. And I miss Tudor all the time. It was loads of fun. Obviously, no, lots of work, but loads of fun. And I had the absolute best time there. So yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
Rosie, thank you so much. It's been brilliant to have you back and to hear all the great stories about Tudor and a little bit about what you're doing now. So thank you for your time today with us.